Hey Ratbags, it's Jade today with a Tales of AGHASBA guide to the alchemy station, the antidote that you'll need to go and explore the withered haze, and how you can get rid of some of these areas permanently to make it a bit easier to explore, although you still have to take care of a lot of the withered. If you find this video useful, do leave a like, make sure you subscribe and want to see more Tales of AGHASBA content, and let's go. So once you've repaired the bridge to escape the tutorial island basically and made your way to the mainland, you then need to build up Midhaven. The most important building that you really want to go ahead and craft and make first, if you can, is the alchemy building. Now you may need to go ahead and also make the lumberyard first, as this might not unlock until you've done that. But this is pretty vital, as it's going to give you an antidote that will help prolong your time in the withered areas. You're going to need some gold dust, 2 of them, 3 clay and 12 stone. Gold dust you've got a small chance of getting when you mine stone, or you can go ahead and trade scrap for it at the brand new trader that you'll find in Midhaven. This is also how you go ahead and unlock health potions too, and these are pretty vital obviously. You'll unlock the simple withered potion, and I do believe there should be a greater version of it as well that eventually you get. Now it is early access, they've already chopped and changed some recipes, so if these are slightly out of date, don't blame me, but at the present time, mushroom caps and some of the withered tar, that's what you need for the antidote. The tar's got a chance of dropping pretty much from any larger withered creatures, especially like the spiders or some of the soldiers. And for health potions, you need some aloe leaf and some oil, and you can craft some health potions too, and they're starting resources that you should be able to find relatively quick once you start growing your tree. There is a better withered potion, but you're going to need some reaper shrooms, which you won't be able to get unless you kill a lot of the corrupted hands that you find in the withered haze. And just a little side, you can get extra armor by going ahead and crafting the tailor. Pieces here will give you small boosts. I definitely recommend trying to get a full armor set maybe. Now technically you can do the withered zones without any of this, but I definitely recommend this, as it also will then pop up with the next quest in how to venture through the actual withered zone, and you need that to go ahead and upgrade Midhaven to tier 2. Anywho, there should be a quest that will tell you to go and find Hua, who has been off exploring. She's the one that gave you some of the combat weapons at the very start, and basically in the east you'll find her tied up and you have to rescue her. Once you've done this, that is technically the withered expedition done and dusted. So again, make sure this is one of your priorities, go and find it. Again, it will be marked out on the map, it's just beyond the large crater towards the east, as I said, just beyond the river here on this location. You're then given a couple of splash pages giving you tips on how to survive in the withered lands, and that's pretty much what I'm going to go through now. Also very close by is this guy Ruslan, and he'll have another little mini quest for you to go and do, which is effectively go and clear the area by repairing one of the special shrines. You should know that by now. There's 4 different shrines in Tales of AGHASBA. 3 of them, once repaired, will pretty much make the withered go away. You still may have withered creatures, but you won't necessarily start taking damage just for being in the zone anymore. It will stop being monochrome and be nice and plentiful and green, or deserty and brown. But obviously that isn't the first thing you might be doing, as a lot of the actual shrines have requirements that you might not have the resources for just yet. What you can go and activate really quickly is the fast travel points. You will need some of the amity, and it's 75 for this one, that's all the way in the east. The others may vary a little bit, but I do believe it's about the same cost. Whenever you see a marker for a story or a mission inside the withered zone, your first thing should be to go and activate one of the fast travel points close by it. That way you can come back and forth once you've got more prepared. And you may still be running out of the protection against the withered. You're going to need to travel to at least all 3 of the withered zones in the north, west and east, as they've all got different missions. So it's worth bearing these tips in mind. These small shrubberies will give you small actual protection. You can see the little red circle in the bottom left, small and faint as it is, that is what is keeping you protected. These ghost trees extend that and give you even more protection, and these are the main ones that are going to provide you from losing health from the withered as you keep travelling through. But they also highlight what direction to go next to hopefully go and find the next shrine and get rid of the withered completely. My top tip here is to just run and avoid everything. There's no point in trying to fight every creature in here, not until at least you've got the fast travel point unlocked. A lot of the time these trees will have enemies around them, so it can make it a bit tough going to get the protection. And there is a cooldown. Once you've activated one of them, you won't necessarily be able to just re-up the second one. Honestly not too sure if it's a bug, but you can see here I tried doing it on the second tree here and it didn't make that little red circle if the white actually fill up anymore. So I don't know if it's a bug, it kind of feels like it should just go ahead and replenish it. The smaller shrubs should go ahead and replenish it a little bit at least. But yeah, you want to be as rapid as you can getting through these places. Obviously, if you are climbing, some of the spiders can obviously fire projectiles at you, as can some of the withered soldiers with bows. So you don't want to be doing that, as they can knock you off quite a lot, especially larger cliffs. So try and plan out the plot of where you go. That's what the trees are really meant to be there for. Like I said, they're meant to show you direction to go. So you may need to bring a bundle of food or healing potions with you, as well as the antidotes too. It might just be a visual bug, but it often didn't recognise or show that I'd maybe drunk one, although it did mean that I did have more resistance for a while. And that's really it in terms of what you should be doing in these places for now. Yes, you will need to take care of a lot of the withered creatures, and you may need some of them to progress certain parts of stories or missions, but like I said, they will still carry on spawning until you do a certain few things. You've obviously got the blobs. They don't necessarily stop creatures from coming back all the time, but they reduce it somewhat a little, and they will respawn anyway. But then you've got these much larger structures where the withered soldiers normally spawn at. These are a bit more complicated than just the blobs, as there's maybe 5 or 6 points that you have to go ahead and basically cleanse, all potentially while fighting off soldiers. So the usual thing is to clear the area first, get rid of all the soldiers and the withered corrupted hands. But don't try clearing out one of these larger towers until you've gone ahead and cleansed the area by replenishing the shrine. Otherwise you've got to deal with obviously the withered effect, maybe reducing your life eventually as well. And definitely felt like there was more withered when it was actually active with the rest of the area instead of just clearing it out. And that's pretty much it. Some of the tumours that you have to hold can seemingly be a bit more hidden, so you might have to just climb around this tower quite a bit to hopefully get rid of them. But obviously aim for where you can see some of the stalks, and then you may have to climb the actual core and get a bit higher, as some were definitely a little bit more further up. As far as I know, if you clear these out, it should stop the soldiers from spawning and usually some of the hands, but you still may have a lot of the withered giant spiders that spawn, especially since there are the smaller blobs that respawn as well. It can be challenging even just trying to survive if you're not in combat with a lot of the withered, just by simply trying to outrun them. So yeah, do make sure you've got at least one healing food or some potions directly in your hand that you can use anytime you want. Like, you could take your time and slowly clear out the enemies as you go, but honestly I think it's worth just trying to find a way to rush to the fast travel points at least. The one last thing to note, there are some quests, particularly to go and get a special shovel where you have to help the hand people out. You have to kill 10 of the great raised spiders, and then you have to kill 10 of like the withered hands. That means obviously they won't necessarily spawn as much if you have cleared out some of the areas. Now you will come across lots of these creatures as you play through the game, but something to bear in mind, if you've already killed like 6 or 7 of them or 8 of them, you might want to just run around and kill the other 2 first before cleansing the area. This is definitely a lot easier than it was when early access first launched. They've updated and extended the amount of time that you can spend in the Haze. Because honestly, it was really super tough. The first time that I went in there, and I kept trying over and over again, I couldn't really work out where the trees were meant to be showing me next. And you were losing life so quick, you just really couldn't survive. And that was before I'd even realised that you had to make an antidote potion to help you too. So there you go, hopefully that has helped you. Obviously with the enemies, they've obviously got their own strengths and weaknesses. The large hand has got a big tendency to do a big jump on you, and that can do a huge amount of damage. So you might want to make sure you've got a bow and arrow to keep at range. These guys usually only take 2 swings of a bone sword. And then you've got the different soldiers, ones with the large shields that will be able to rebound a lot of your arrows, so you have to aim particularly for their head or their back. And then you've got the guys with the big swords that can kind of rush you, so again, might want to be using your bow and arrows or making sure you're ducking at the last minute. 4 to 5 shots with your bow should be enough to take care of them though, and make sure you're not using the tethered bow. You do get given a special bow to fish with. Unfortunately, you still need your other tool, your other weapon. That's what I found, at least anyway, with the bow, to do significant damage. Otherwise you only do a tiny bit if you're using the feather bow. So don't destroy your old bow, make sure you've got it on you. From soldiers you can get drops of iron as well as leather, but there's obviously better ways to get especially the iron. You obviously get a lot of the venom sacs, the scythe, as well as maybe some withered tar from the larger spiders, and of course maybe a bit of bone or meat. But that might be because they're so dangerous and they go and attack other creatures that I'm just picking up the remains. And if you want to make the larger actual antidotes, then you can get them from the hands once you've got the Reaper shrooms that can drop from them. So there we go, hopefully some top tips on how to explore and survive the withered haze and make sure that you start to clear it out. Each one of the shrines, as I said, will require certain requirements and materials, but you know how to read a fulfillment list, so I'm not going to cover that now. And obviously this isn't a guide showing you how to clear them free, it's more how to clear all of them so that you can do it yourself. You don't need to actually clear all of the shrines to go ahead and upgrade your city to tier 2. In fact, you only need to go ahead and repair one of them, the AGHASBA shrine, which is actually not in the withered zone. It's just a bit more southwest from this location in the east, pretty much near the crater again. Just pointing this out so I don't want to confuse anyone, but I figure, yes, if you want to know how to get rid of the withered haze, then you do need to go ahead and repair the shrines. But to progress your city Midhaven to tier 2, you only need to go ahead and rebuild the AGHASBA one. And lastly, worth pointing out, you do get some rewards and unlocks for crafting and making these shrines, like potions that will help you jump maybe, as well as a new type of arrow. I've got one more shrine to do, so I probably will do a full guide once I've unlocked the last one altogether. So if you're looking out for that still and you want more tips about how to replenish it all and where to get the resources, then that guide's going to be coming soon. But there we go. If that's been helpful, leave a like, make sure to subscribe for the best in survival games crafting content, and I'll see you for more AGHASBA videos soon. Bye bye.